Hello? We need to talk.
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 Welcome back to We Need to Talk, episode number 93. I'm Mr. MR.KOA alongside
Top Boy.
If you're just listening, I'm looking around the apartment. We are in a different place, a different location. Zamora done grewed up. Zamora lives on his own right now. He found a new place. And we have relocated for now the 4th time on this podcast.
Yeah, it's fourth. Yeah,
This is the fourth location.
Fourth time we've
on this
relocated.
podcast.
Yes, indeed.
Interesting shit. It is gonna be a short episode today, just a reflection, touch base episode. This will be the last episode of 2020, going into 2021, and a lot has happened this year. A lot has happened in many ways, for positive and negative. But we want to try and keep it positive as we roll into next year.
Yeah.
It's definitely been a year. It's definitely been a year. It still feels weird being in December and next week being 2021 feels stupid surreal.
This is the longest, shortest year.
Oh, 100%.
Ever.
100%.
And
Like certain stuff you're like, did that happen this year? And you're like, yeah, it did. Like there's a lot of things that feel like it was last year, but it was still all encapsulated in this year.
dude, like COVID started in
Basically March.
quarantine started in March.
Sure.
We're 3 months away from March again, from being a full year in COVID. Like you just lost a whole year. Like I know we still did shit.
yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like
You lost freedom for a year.
when people say that they feel like they lost a year, I kind of look at it like this year just didn't count. It counted and it didn't at the same time. It's almost like a gap year.
It's almost like when girls just don't count certain men's.
Yeah.
It's like, that wasn't
Like it happened, but I know they're not. Yeah.
that wasn't real. That doesn't my body count. you don't get to have my body count. It's strange, man. It's definitely strange, but this is definitely a learning year for everybody.
Yeah.
In terms of your career, family, friends, lifestyle, the things that matter to you. This year definitely allowed you to reflect, have a lot of time to yourself. This was definitely the year of the breakup. It's been,
Oh my God.
like,
yeah.
everyone broke up this year. It's been difficult, but a learning experience for everybody. And it kind of forced people to reevaluate what was important to them. When all things considered, when nothing else matters, when there's no money, there's no partying, there's no this, there's no that, no jobs, no traveling, no fun, no excitement.
Yeah.
What do you like? When there's no more distraction, this really shows you, like, what do I actually like? Because we fall into things that, we're going out, we're partying together. So I guess you're kind of cool because you're my party friend. I guess you're kind of cool. Like, you're my travel buddy. I guess you're kind of cool. You're like,
Yeah.
you're my sports friend. But like when there's nothing else,
Yeah.
who do you really like when there's no other distractions and there's no way to hide someone's, weaknesses or negativity that actually the energy they're serving to you might be negative, but you might not see it because you're always distracted. You're always consuming yourself with them in different environments.
That's very true.
It literally forces you to be like, who are my actual friends? Who do I really like for real when there's nothing else? And I think people really start to realize like, I don't actually need certain people.
It's either I don't need certain people, I don't need certain environments, I don't need certain jobs, certain activities. You're right. Like I think this year was definitely a reflection for people, a forced reflection, because I don't think if it was like any other year, people would necessarily be doing what you've genuinely done this year. But I don't know if how would you describe 2020? In as few words as possible, how would you describe it? What would you say?
I would say 2020 is I would say 2020 is you realizing that your hero is human.
How so? Explain.
This year really pulled back all the facade and mask and cover up of anything you believed actually existed or was right for you. It really pulled back all that to its core. So like it's like they say when you meet your heroes, you sometimes get disappointed because you're like, oh, like that's it. Like I thought, like I almost wish I never met you because I could have kept you in this like
I could have kept you
undefeated pedestal. But like 2020 kind of showed you, like, you know, with the celebrities dying, the Kobe's, the racism and like everything just coming out like extra loud this year. Because there was no distraction, you were forced to look at everything. Yeah. You weren't allowed to not look at it. You weren't allowed, like, people were not allowed to be like, oh yeah, I know this is happening, but I'm just gonna dip and go to Mexico and chill and party and distract myself. It's like, no, I need you to see this every day, and you don't get to run from this. No one got to run from their problems or their fears or their insecurities or nothing. Everything was on the table. Like, yo, what are you gonna do about this? And it basically took that. It popped the bubble. It popped that fantasy bubble of like, this is gonna be my year. I'm gonna be this and that. I love my job. I love this. Like, do you actually? Do you love your job? Do you love your man, your girl? Do you love your friends? Do you even love what you do? Yeah. Do you even like to travel for real? Do you really like to travel, or do you just travel because it gets you away from stuff? Like, it really made people self-reflect and popped everybody's bubble. And now I think going to 2021, we're all on like we're all on ground zero to kind of rebuild ourselves how we want to now. I feel like a lot of people want to be certain things or do certain things, but because the world kept happening so fast, you never got that moment to really start over. Yeah. And this is probably the first time everyone going to 2021, there's no expectations. There's nothing is for certain. You know, jobs are fickle, everything. Like 2021 allows everyone to be like, if you want to do anything right now in your life, this is when you do it. Yeah. Everyone gets to be at ground zero right now. And I feel like 2021 and beyond is where you're going to start to see people really start to navigate into shit that they really enjoy.
Yeah, I can agree with that because you know, I mean, I agree with a lot of the things you were saying. 2020 basically put a lot of things at the forefront of your mind. You know what I mean? Like things that you just didn't typically get to think about or even concern yourself with. You didn't have a choice, really. A lot of people dealt with a lot of mental shit because now they just had more time than ever to actually just sit and think. You know what I mean? You know, like I'm living in this new place by myself, right? And obviously, in the times when I was living with my partner before, there were a couple times where I was in the place by myself. Like if she was traveling, I was traveling. But when you live by yourself and you're going through the middle of a pandemic and you're not seeing people often, right? Let's say you're not doing something in your career path where you still see people and you're just isolated all the time. It's going to put you in a place where you start thinking, am I even like good with my life right now? Like, do I even like what I'm doing? Yeah. You know, like for me, the main thing, one of the main things that 2020 made me not necessarily regret, but it made me think a lot about was traveling. You know, I've traveled for work. You know, I've traveled quite a bit in the past couple of years, but this year really made me say to myself, Zamora, you need to travel a lot. Like not just for work. It's good if you can couple work in there, get paid while you do it, but you got to travel more. Because now there's a part of my brain that thinks this traveling shit might not ever be the same. It's a potential. And then on the flip side, it's like, now it's really a privilege. Like if you and I just wanted to go to fucking Japan, I can't do that now.
No.
Japan locked themselves off from the world. They're just like, no, sorry, no one's coming here. We're banning all travel to our country.
Right.
That's it. You know?
So it's like, well, should have went last year.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like
it's like when you had the chance to go,
right,
you didn't. So I think now, you know, I was talking about it a lot on Twitter, and I saw a lot of people talking about that movie Soul.
Yeah, I just seen it yesterday.
With Jamie Foxx.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was great. And that movie couldn't have come out at a better time. I honestly feel that
it literally was saying, like, do what you need to do.
Just live your... Because when... I don't want to spoil it, but it's just talking about like live, mm-hmm. like live your life. That's what it is. And so many people are caught up in, fuck, I need to figure out my purpose. I need to figure out what it is I'm supposed to be here on this planet to do, or what I'm good at. It's like, sure, you can do all those things, but that doesn't mean that you're still going to be living life, you know? So that's what I took away from it. And it's made me reflect on 2020. And I think, yeah, like I should probably be living life a little bit more than I already do. You know, because why the hell not? I don't have a reason not to.
I honestly view it very similar, just in the way where it's like, you and I have the luxury of being able to take risks. Right. And I think you're not really acknowledging that as much. Like I am much more than I used to, but I think you're getting there as well. But I think you have to really understand that we have the ability to take risks that most people can't. Like, you'll be fine if you try something that doesn't work, and you're not going to lose your brand. You're not going to lose who you are. You're not going to lose the clients you have built. Like, we can take those risks. Not everyone can.
Yeah, you're right.
Not everyone's built a place where they're like, even if it doesn't work, like, yo, I still got you. We're still like, I literally can just try some shit. If it doesn't work, I still have a whole group of people that are like, don't worry, you're good. Like, go back out there. Like, a lot of people don't have that. If we're being honest.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
You have the ability to take risks, so take more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just try shit that you're like, this might fail badly, but hey, I'm gonna throw myself out there. Like, I was just jokingly saying to you before we got on this podcast, I'm like, I might just fly to Jamaica tomorrow. I don't know. And I might. I don't know. Actually, no. My only thing that's holding me back from doing that is because I'm still injured. Yeah. And like, that is another hindrance on my year, because like, it's limited me physically to do certain things. Like, I want to go to Jamaica, but I also want to go to Jamaica and have fun. Yeah. And I can't even run right now. Like, you know what I mean? And even from a safety perspective, like, if someone's to pop off, like, I've been in areas where, you know, guns go off or whatever, just stuff happens in different places. Yeah. I can't even run right now. Like that's a real thing I'm thinking about. I'm like,
definitely not ideal.
You know, like if I'm not saying bad things happen everywhere, but I'm like, especially if I'm in a foreign country, at least if I'm home, I can hop on my whip and I don't need to. But if I'm in Jamaica or some other country, something happens, or like, even if it's like a hurricane, I don't know, anything, and you need to be actively fit to do something, and I'm in a different place. Like, I generally cannot run right now, and maybe I can, like, mentally I haven't, because I haven't, you know, started doing that yet, but maybe fight or flight, I'll just start running and maybe hurt myself worse, but I have to run because my body would just let me run. But I know I'm not ready to run right now. Yeah. You know, I know I'm not ready to jump. I can't jump. So like, do I really want to travel to a place where there's activities and cliffs and swimming and all this cool stuff that I want to do, and I can't even really enjoy it because I'm hurt? So then that's the only thing I'm like, like, okay, maybe not now. And I'm also not someone that goes somewhere and just sits. Yeah, you want to be out and about. So I'm like, okay, I go there, but then I'm like, okay, let me just chill. I'm like, but I don't want to just chill. Yeah, that's the whole purpose. So it's like, so I'm torn. I do want to leave and go somewhere, but I'm also like, oh yeah, my Achilles. Like, it's this weird like cloud over my head. So this year has been difficult for me, and continues to be as we roll into next year. But yeah, I think this is definitely, I think 2021 is definitely gonna be the first year where everyone really gets a blank slate. Yeah, like we're gonna, like, the world has forever changed, right? And now, you know, there's a lot of questions for certain things. We don't, like I said, we don't know what traveling is gonna look like. We don't know what
people's work situation is going to look like. A lot of companies have straight up said, hey, work from home forever if you want to. Like we're changing our entire business whole system to accommodate people who just never want to come back into the workplace. So there's a lot of things that are changing. And to your point with the blank slate, you've got, like you said, we have the ability to take risks, right? That a lot of people can't take. But the thing that I think everyone has the ability to do right now, especially like in our society, is realizing that you had a whole year now to actually examine your own life. Like personally, I think if after 2020, at no point did you actually take a step back and look at your life and reevaluate certain things, then I think you wasted your year. Even though it's affected all of us financially, whatever, socially, if you did not look back at your year and say, all right, what is it I actually like and don't like? Who do I like hanging out with? What's important to me? If those are questions you didn't ask yourself, you wasted your year. Because you can't, there's no way that post-COVID, you can be the same person.
No,
you can't. Like,
unless you're like extremely out of tune. Like,
there's Ryan before COVID and there's Ryan after, and it's the same for everyone. There's life events that happen that change you. You should be a different person by the end of this. I don't know when the end's gonna be, but you cannot be the same person.
Right.
There's no way. So that's the only scenario where I think people could have really wasted this year. Because it hasn't been good for everyone, like you said. There's a lot of people that don't have the ability to look at it the way that we do. I'm just wondering, what are things really going to look like 2021? I don't perceive things going back to any semblance of normalness till like the summer.
I think I think we're definitely back in fall again.
Yeah. I'm saying summer like nicely. I don't think
I honestly think we're going right back into fall, bro. Like I think it's going to be I think 2021 is going to be a very people who just got by 2020, like with the CREB and the loans and all kind of stuff, like 2021 is going to just get you to your fucking limit. Yeah. And not in a good way. Just like, I don't think the economy prepared for this to go that far. I don't think they actually have a logistic and realistic long-term plan for this. And I think they're either going to have to bail on their plan and just say, you know what, this is no longer sustainable. We're just going to take the risk and be safe, guys. I think it's that alternative. Yeah. Or it becomes a point where they're just constantly like lying and people are on their own and it becomes social unrest. Yeah. I think those are the only, like, because they didn't, in March when they said we're locking down, they did not think next March we'd still be here. They didn't believe that. I'm telling you, no one in office, government, no one said when this happened, the virus came from China and blah, blah. Like, okay, you know what? We'll take precautions, do a little thing. Like, we could be by summer. And then summer came and they're like, okay, cancel Caravana. Okay, Caravana. Okay, that's a big thing. So we'll cancel that because it's Caravana. We'll get that. But we'll be good by, fall or so. And then fall came and it rolled. And now Christmas, they're like canceling all this stuff in Christmas. And I know they're like, okay, fuck. Like, we're back at March. And we gave out a lot of money this year that we're not going to get back because people still don't have jobs. So like, are we about to do another CERB of $18,000, $20,000 for next, like, for every fucking household for another 7 months? Like, can we afford that? Where is this coming from? Are we getting this money back? Like, they're getting to the point they're like, we can't afford to do this again, guys. So what do we do? Let them fend for themselves? They're gonna fight. It's gonna be crazy if they do that. Do we just let them out?
What do you think? What do you think out of those two options? If you were in charge, what would you do? What would you do? Out of those two options, what would you do? I know which one I would pick, but go.
I honestly feel like the world is about sacrifice. especially when you're in that position, and it's a tough position to be in when you're playing with people's lives, but you can't stop people from dying. That's just life.
Yeah.
And I think they're trying to stop people from dying, which I get, because obviously you don't want a higher number of death tolls and stuff, but what they're not accounting for is the cost of people dying, and the people who actually will die. I still, my hearts go out to those people, and people who have died this year, my hearts go out to those people. But you're basically trying to save the people that are higher risk of dying more than protecting the people who are trying to live.
Yeah.
Like there's more attention going to the potential risk of people dying than the permanent risk of people who are alive right now that will ruin their lives moving forward. Yeah. Like there's, you know what I'm saying? Like there's more attention on the potential deaths.
I absolutely get what you're saying. I think, like, to your point, okay, this is what I think I would do by this point.
Like, and don't get me wrong, like no one deserves to die. It's just, this is just what it is.
It is what it is. Like, as hard as that statement sounds, it is what it is. Like, I think, beginning of COVID, the main issue I had with people was, it was off rip when the Trinity Bell was incident, like all these things where I was watching people go out in like large groups, like big. And morally, I had an issue with it because I'm thinking, fam, like in every culture that's ever been in existence, it's taught that you're supposed to like protect the old, right? Because they can't do shit for themselves anymore. So that used to bother me. And then now, and it still does, but as time has gone on, what I have an issue with is the way that the government is running things. Like the government is deciding to insert themselves into a public health issue. And it's essentially like asking a lawyer to go run a basketball camp and make decisions about it. But he's never played basketball in his life. Why would you do that? Why would I ask a bunch of politicians who have no background in science and health to make decisions for the rest of the public, right? So with that in mind, you still have people in public health who are saying we should lock everything down, blah, 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 which I don't agree with. I think if it were me, I would probably, they're rolling out these vaccines to people in government or whatever. First off, I don't think they should be getting it. Like if they really want to be giving out vaccines to people, it should be up to the discretion of people who work in public health to take it, like nurses or people who work in the retirement homes and shit like that, because they're constantly around people who are the most at risk, right? Someone like me probably, and you and I, like probably, even though we're around a lot of people, I probably don't necessarily need the vaccine. Right now, the only reason why I would consider taking the vaccine is for a selfish reason, which is
to move around.
Mm-hmm. That's it. Like if they said you can't,
it's mandatory. It's like, fine, I'll take it so I can leave this fucking place.
It's not even like I need it, but it's like, fuck it.
If that's what I need to get out,
boom,
whatever.
Right? But those are the people that should be getting it. And if that's what they do, at that point, you just say, look, like you said, we've been doing this for a year. We got to open up businesses. We got to open up the economy. And then you're basically putting all of your trust in the public at this point to do what they need to do, because right now they haven't been doing that. I think they're disguising it as we're putting our faith,
protecting you.
Yeah, we're putting the faith in the public to stay home, do all these things, but really they're just like taking things away, and they're saying they're disguising it. I think it's going to get to a point where they realize, look, none of this is sustainable. We're going to leave it up to you guys now to figure it out. Like, you need to exercise proper judgment. And I think I'm around enough people in my life who can do that. Like, I have no issue with
like that's the thing. Like that's the main point that like you cannot stop the percentage of people who just don't care in any scenario that is going to exist, whether it's sports teams, life, crime. You have to account for a percentage of people that just won't give a fuck. And to your point, sorry,
people always forget that like a large portion of those people are rich.
Right.
They got money. Like I've noticed, this is kind of off topic, but like if you're rich or like a celebrity, COVID is not totally real to you in the same way.
No one's getting to you. No one's touching you.
Dog, I saw Diddy like the other day. It was his mom's birthday. I think he bought her house.
Bought her a car.
Car or something.
Yeah.
I think he gave her like $1 million to or something.
Give her $1 million check and give her a car.
And there was a bunch of people there. It's like probably all family and stuff. And I was like, yo, COVID doesn't affect you if you're rich. It really doesn't. Because you can just get all your people and say, hey, this is what we're doing. We're not going anywhere else, but this is just us.
Only us. And I can pay for it. Don't worry about it.
It doesn't affect you.
Kardashian, went to an island or some shit like that?
Yeah. That tennis player from Canada, Bianca, she's in like Dubai right now, posting a bunch of shit.
It's just a different life for them.
I'm like, what? But okay.
That's like their life it's only stopped because everything around them has stopped. So they can't really do much other things, fans, friends, whatever. But
they want to move.
They can move if they need to. Right? So what I was saying is like, I'm like, you have to account for the people who just won't give a fuck and just won't listen. Yeah. That's just going to exist. There's no rule. There's no sanctions. You can say all you want. There's people are like, fuck your sanctions. I don't give a fuck. That's just going to exist. Period. So you can't do things based on those people. The greater number of people, like it's been almost a year since you've been in this. Yeah. I think everyone gets it. The people that actually want their businesses to run and thrive. Yeah. I think they get it.
I think they know,
it's not them. Yeah. But you're affecting them and you're hindering their successes based on the mishaps and the disrespect from the people who just don't give a fuck, which are going to exist whether you like it or not. You can't bank on them. Yeah. If you opened up the public and said, listen, made a statement, said all businesses are now open, but please be precautious. Do not let clients in without a mask. Make sure you wear a mask. Make sure you clean everything, blah, blah. You're open to run, but please just run these rules properly. Yeah. Any business right now would be like, cool. Like
they'll be jumping at it.
Fine. Yeah. I need money.
My business. We'll just make sure people. Yeah. Like
I just need money. I will do what I have to do. I will take. Okay, fine. Yeah. I have a limit. People need masks. Cool. Can I run though, please? Yes. Cool. As long as you're saying I can run, I will. On God, I will do what it takes to make this work. Yeah. Like, so not letting them run is not the solution. Yeah. Right? Like
it does more harm than anything.
It does way more harm because like you're basically saying like, no, you don't get it still. Companies like, just let me run. I will do it. If you need me to wear a mask, I will do it. Like it's the company owners and the small businesses that will actually make it happen because this is their livelihood.
They don't want to go back to not having anything. Yeah.
If that's the alternative, they're like, I get it. Like, just okay, cool. Can you just let me own my business? The people who don't want to wear a mask, they're gonna run regardless. Yeah. You can't be making rules based on that percentage of people that aren't listening. Oh, these guys haven't listened, so we gotta shut down everything. It's like, I'm fine listening. Can you let my business be open? Like, we've been doing the right things.
They don't have the infrastructure to individually watch over every single business to be like, okay, you guys are doing good, you get to stay open. You're not, you're closed. They don't have that infrastructure. That's been very clear. So I agree with you. They should really at this point just, if they put out a message like that, I guarantee you'll see numbers go up. That's just by the very nature of humans being on the road. But it's like, I don't think it's going to be as detrimental as they make it out to be, you know?
People will get sick and they're already getting sick.
And you know what? Like, I know people are making the sacrifices. Like, just forget business owners, right? We've gone through, it's almost a year and we've gone through major holidays where you typically gather around your family. Thanksgiving, Christmas, we got New Year's, whatever else that I missed previously. But think about how many people who actively said, young people too, who actively said, I'm not going to go home because like, I don't want to risk it. You know what I mean? People are exercising that themselves. No one told you that like, hey, You're not allowed to see your family, blah, blah, blah. You're not allowed to do any of these things. But people are willingly themselves saying, I am not going to risk it because they see the bigger picture. So if you open up businesses,
I didn't even see my grandparents this Christmas.
I couldn't go. I couldn't go. I have a newborn nephew, right?
We obviously get it.
Back in my head, I'm thinking I can't be around this little kid. We crazy.
We clearly get it.
Yeah.
And I think the greater population does get it.
Yeah.
But they're making decisions based on the smaller population that doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And they're making large decisions based on those people, not based on the greater people. And most people are like, most of us are listening.
Yeah.
Why are we also getting penalized?
Yeah.
People haven't seen their family, haven't seen their friends, cousins, whatever. And we've just been doing it and we're still losing money.
So this is the thing. Like I've said it time and time again on this podcast. All I know is when it comes time to vote, people really need to start voting strategically. Like they need to really look back at this year, look at how your local government, federal government handled this situation. Because on God, I don't think this is going to be the last time we ever deal with some sort of pandemic. Like in all our time that we've been alive, I never thought we'd go through a pandemic. Pandemic was a word that I knew, but I was like, I don't like.
What does that even mean? Really?
What does that even really mean?
What does it look like?
Like, what does that actually look like?
I can't go out? Actually? Like, how are they going to stop me? They just stop you.
They just stop you. It's fucking. It's really fucking wild when you think about it.
Stop me from traveling. They just say you can't fly.
Like when you watch movies and they had talk about
like lockdown. You're like, what are you
talking about? How can you really get people to do that?
You just shut everything down.
You just say, hey, stay home. And everyone does it. You know? Yo, fucking. So, sorry, this is reminding me. Slate had posted this comedian talking about, it goes back to my point about like you trust in the government. Right. And he says, it's crazy that people don't believe in conspiracy theories. Right. He's like, I'm not saying people should believe in like all of them or the crazy ones, but you don't believe in like just one, like a little conspiracy theory. He's like, this is the way I look at it, right? The government is in charge of protecting this entire country, millions of people, right? And he's like, I am in charge of protecting my son. And he's like, I lie to that little nigga all the time.
And that's all I'm responsible for.
That's all I'm responsible for. He's like, you expect me to believe the government doesn't lie about like a 1-2 thing?
To mass people?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Come on. And I was like, yo, that's the best.
He's like, yeah, that's big.
I lied to this little human that I have to protect. You expect me to believe the government doesn't lie to like
all of us?
Come on.
Yeah, it's true. That's a perfect analogy.
So it's like, you got to start looking at, do you really
think they're telling us the truth every day?
Absolutely not.
Can't.
You can't believe that.
They can't.
You can't
tell us the truth.
There are people there. There's people running it. And the crazy thing too is when we talk about they're making these big decisions off of this little percentage of people, you also have to remember, like within the government, there's those little percentage of people in there. You know what I mean? Like there's always going to be people who are making decisions that are so out of touch.
Right.
I'm not related
and they're not even in the community.
Not in the community.
How are you making decisions for gyms, certain places, restaurants, whatever, and you have no understanding of how they actually run?
How it's been running too since COVID hit. Like when Ford is making all these decisions about, health and wellness and restaurants and all this type of stuff. I'm like, when's the last time you stepped foot in one of these places, bro?
Never.
Clearly been a while. Like looking at you, I don't know what to tell you. Like it is what it is. Man. But let's get to these questions.
Or answers.
Yes, answers. Sorry. So the question this week from Ryan is, what is something you said you stopped doing this year that you'll actually stop doing next year for real this time?
The people's responses are like very honest.
Super honest.
Very honest stuff.
Super honest. Okay. So Tyler, his one says, playing the comparison game at the creative level is over for that in 2021 unless it's for inspiration. We talked about this so many times.
Yeah.
You can't do that as a creative. It'll just drive you nuts. You said compromising my requirements. That stems from like relationship stuff, no?
Relationship stuff, also friendships.
Mhm.
I think just we all know what we want and what we're looking for.
Yeah.
And when it doesn't exist right away, or it's close to what we're looking for,
Yeah.
we bend a little bit. Well, this is mostly what I'm looking for, so it should be fine. Like, no.
Yeah.
If it's not it, it's not it.
Yeah.
And we get frustrated because we're like, I'm never really gonna find it. So like, this is pretty close. And then no. If it's not it, it's not it. And that's just what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next one. From Nina, ordering food when I know damn well my fridge is full. That's not something I said I would stop, but I'm definitely guilty of doing that. Like, for sure. Like,
I've actually stopped doing that. Anytime I know I have food in my fridge, I'm like, make it, just cook something.
that probably will change now that I'm here, but it's like,
Yeah.
that was a bad habit of mine.
When you're by yourself, you're like, I'm not gonna order again. Like,
Lachey, she said, doubting my intuition. Tyrell said, not following through on what I say I'll do. That's an interesting one. Not following through on what I say I'll do. Because, like, people lie to themselves every day. You know?
every day.
Every day, you know? They say, I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it.
And then the day ends, you're like, you didn't do that.
Yeah. That's the worst part, because when it happens, you acknowledge that you didn't do it.
The day ends, you're like,
Fuck.
what did I do today?
Dude,
how did I not do anything?
There have been some COVID days where the day just goes by and I'm like, what did I really accomplish today?
Nothing.
Like, I actually didn't do anything.
Nothing.
Fortunately, I've been at a point with myself where that doesn't actually defeat me mentally.
Right.
Like, some people, they'll go through that and it just spirals.
It's like, I'm worthless.
Yeah, like if that happens to me, I'll be like, oh, I'll get it tomorrow. Like,
it's almost like, all right, you got me one day.
Yeah, you got me
because I
today.
know I'm on most days, so I'm like,
you got me today.
You got me today. Cool.
But like if you have too many of those days stocked up, then it's a problem.
It's true.
Drama or Damien, his real name. He says smoking. Hopefully, Damien stopped with the smoking. I don't know if it's weed or if it's cigarettes. If it's cigarettes, absolutely stop that for sure. Cigarettes is like the ultimate
turn off.
No, bro.
Sure.
I don't know why. I mean, I know why. It's disgusting.
It's disgusting. Smoking rat poison.
She says shrinking away from my sensuality. Oops, did I say that out loud?
Her inside voice. Did she type oops?
Yeah, she said oops. We should get her on the podcast.
Yeah, I'll hit her up. Samora, come through.
Nicole. She said over analyzing social situations. When I read this one, I thought it was interesting because, you know, because of COVID, like social situations has changed. But it goes back to what we were saying at the beginning of the podcast. Like, maybe she's thinking about it from the perspective of like, which social circles and friends do I actually give a fuck about? Who cares about me? You know, like
these are going through a spiral of like,
thinking about everything.
Does anyone really like me? Do I like anybody?
Because you know what it is?
Do I have friends?
You know how like there'll be some days where unless it's work related, I won't text anyone because I'm busy. Like I have too much shit to do.
I won't text a single person.
Right? And it's an interesting tell when you see who texts you. Like you're not talking to anyone.
Right.
So
someone's thinking of you.
So you're like, who, like, and then you get to your phone and you're like, oh, like these people messaged me today. Not group chats, like people message me. So imagine like you're in COVID, you're not seeing people. So who the fuck is messaging you?
And for what?
For what? You know, can you imagine like how tough that would be on some people if
no one's messaging them?
No messages at all day.
Every day.
Days. Weeks at a time.
Because they don't need you for anything.
That's the thing. They don't need you for anything. So now you're like, what the fuck do I do? Am I worthless?
Does anyone need help?
I got all the
I can
time.
help.
I got so much free time.
I can help.
Oh my God. She also said, I'm dying because her next one relates. It says being hypercritical of myself. Nicole, I didn't mean this to come across like I'm making fun of you. Oh my God, Hilda. Hilda said, making excuses for other people's actions. A lot of people do that, for sure. I also want to say something, Hilda. What did people call you as a child? Because certain names are like names that are suited for once you get older.
Like old people names.
I don't want to say old people names, but you know what I mean.
Like baby Hilda.
Yeah, like dude.
Like some names are grown names. Like,
Yeah,
like I can't call you that as a
one of my
maybe Hill. Maybe
Hill. Yeah,
maybe they called you Hill.
that's so country, bro.
Hill?
I don't know. Like one of my
But Hill's like short for Hillary too. Sometimes.
one of my boys at work, one of his clients is named Karen. And I know like Karen got like a new way to look at it this year, but I was like, were people really calling you Karen as a baby? Think about calling a baby Karen.
No, you just say care.
No, you're not. What are you talking about?
Okay.
Why would you name your child? Like, are you naming your child
Based on their future?
based on their future? Is that what you're doing?
But what? Like,
What's another old person name? Bob. Like, Bob is short for Richard.
right? But no one's calling a baby Bob.
So what do they call him? Richard?
Rich.
All those still sound old. They sound mature. When I think of rich. No, not
that
Richard.
voice. You know?
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Rich.
Rich.
No, I hate that voice.
Rich. It's either,
Oh, Rich is here.
it's Rich, Richard, Bob. Like those are all I think of like
Like they're
middle-aged white dudes.
They're grown now.
They're grown.
Like what's the baby
I
form?
think of middle-aged white dudes wearing slacks.
What,
You know what I mean?
what's the baby form of like? What's the baby form of like?
Say it. What do you think?
Ernie.
I don't fucking know.
Like that's only an old person's
That's an
name.
old person's name.
Baby Ernie. I'm not. There's no way I'm calling a child Ernie. I'm not calling a child. If your child's name is Ernie, I am not calling him. I'm not saying hey, Ernie. Like,
you know what? If you're a child and your name is Ernie, you have to be a badass kid.
why?
Because that just
To overcompensate.
yeah, that just seems like a name where you're like, Ernie's bad. Like Ernie's that bad kid in daycare.
Ernie. Names are fucked, man.
Rick.
You can't call a baby Rick.
That's what I'm saying.
Rick.
You can't call babies certain names. So why are they given these names? Is it because they know? Like, at what point do you start getting called Bob? Right?
Like, once you turn 30. You cannot call someone Bob under 30. I cannot call a 22-year-old Bob. I can't. Imagine.
You say
what's your name, Bob?
Bobby.
You need a Bobby.
You say Bobby.
You need a young him. You have to youngin him.
But if he's a child, you could get away with Bobby.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
No, but I'm saying you can't call someone Bob until they break 30. 22, 24, 25, you gotta stick to Bobby. You gotta stick to Bobby. Even 30 might still be a Bobby, but like 30, late 30s, it's like you can drop the BYs. That's when you can be like, you know how shook that Bobby must be when he turns to like 31 and people just start addressing him as Bob. They just, I'm Bobby. No, you're Bob.
You're Bob now.
No, all my friends call me. I'm not your friend. Bob. Like,
B.O.B. That's what it is. Sorry, Hilda. Sorry you had to initiate that.
Sorry, Hill.
Cass, she said, being inconsistent with my physical health and the activities I love. I feel like this relates to a lot of people. I don't see, for me, I think health and wellness is still going to be a struggle for a lot of people in 2021 because like this working out from home shit is difficult for a lot of people. Like it's even difficult for me. It's an entirely different mental shift. So I think people are going to want to like be active in different ways. Doesn't mean going to the gym.
No, but it'll just become a new activity.
Be a new activity, right? Some for people to do because they've been at home all the time, and hopefully people look at it like, all right, like maybe I should work on my physical health.
They just want the social interaction of just working out with people again.
With people, yeah, that's a big thing. And she says, also inconsistent with the activities I love. I think I can relate to that. You know, I don't know if it's because of this year where a lot of the things that I love to do, I was still able to do, just in a much more limited way, right? So all I'm really looking forward to is to do it more. It's really the main thing I wish I could have done more was just travel. That's it. Yeah. That's really it.
Well, actually, what was your answer to this question? What is something that you said you stopped doing this year that you'll actually stop doing next year?
So
like for real.
So here's the thing. I thought about this the other day when I saw the question. In all honesty, there was nothing. I don't think there was anything that I said I'm going to stop this year, but I did come to terms with something that I will not do next year. Okay. Which is I will not, I will be, I'm going to be, it's similar to yours. Like I'm going to be incredibly firm with my like boundaries and needs. Like I'm going to be firm with that.
And intentionally. Because I realized that whether it's like workplaces, clients, relationships, whatever it is, I'm not necessarily lax, but you're not firm either.
I'm a little too forgiving sometimes of people, right? I understand. I'm empathetic, but I find I can be too empathetic sometimes. So I know that in 2021, I'm going to have to put my foot down a lot more on certain things. And it'll probably like shock some people that are in my life who've come to know me where I'm just like not doing that.
You never say that.
Yeah, not doing that. Sorry.
You never say no. What do you mean?
Can't do it.
Not even a little bit?
No, can't do it. Can't do it at all.
At all.
No. Couldn't pay me to do it. Because like, it's just, you know how it is. We talked about it. It just causes you way too much problems in the long run. You don't need. All the stress is bullshit. You don't need to deal with it.
Bro, I turned down 7 bands 2 weeks ago.
You turned on what?
7 bands 2 weeks ago.
Woo! Was it just because you're like, I don't need this work?
I honestly didn't want to do it, man. Yeah. Like,
was it one of those gigs where you're just like, I don't want to do it?
Bro, like, it basically was this unorganized company. They do like, it's unorganized company. It just seemed like a pyramid scheme in my mind. I couldn't tell for sure, but I'm like, this feels like one, you know. But they basically have this recruiting service. They do like real estate stuff. They have like workers in different places and stuff. Okay. And they're trying to make they wanted to make like a video that brings people into their team. And I was like, so you're recruiting? They're like, well, kind of, but like, we're just kind of showing where all the stuff we do and what we offer. And, you know, some of us make a lot of money here.
Canadian company?
It's a Canadian company, yeah. And they're like, we have different locations. We have stuff in Scarborough and this and here. I'm like, so what are you looking for? It's like, oh, we want the video to be like the open scene with like a drone and like, there's people, there's some videos of us in the office doing like seminars and stuff. And then we leave this office and go to another office and do some other seminars there and just show all the locations. I'm like, what are the seminars happening? What are they about? Oh, just like the stuff we do. Like it seemed very vague.
Be specific.
And I was asking very specific questions and they're like, and there's like maybe like 6 or 7 of them in there, different ideas. They're all throwing out different ideas. And I'm just like, okay, I get what you want, but what does this look like in terms of like scenes? Like what does it actually look like? They're like, just like training stuff. And yeah, but what's happening in the training? Like, what are you doing in the training? Just like the stuff we do. Like, she does like a lot of our operation stuff. So like, we'll probably have her on the whiteboard doing some stuff. I'm like, what does the scene look like? Like, they're like, like it was just so unorganized. And then they're saying like, and then, we have places in Vancouver, so we might need you to fly to Vancouver. And I'm like, I was like, and I'm like, but what do you do? Like, what's actually happening?
You know, when like this is a classic case of the juice isn't worth the squeeze.
It's just, I was just like, like and the thing is, I made the number of 7,000. Like, it wasn't even like they're like, this is what, like, it wasn't like they gave me the budget. I'm like, if I was to do this, it'd probably be 7,000. And they're like, okay, cool, when we get started. And I sat with it. I was like,
I still don't want to do it. Yeah, you know those ones where you get
never mind
a budget, and I'm like, so like I don't know.
I'm like, actually, it's it's a no from me.
Yeah, it just doesn't work with my timing. No,
Because I started to like play it out, and I'm like, okay, they pay me the money, but then I'm like,
yeah,
you have to go do all this stuff, and I know for a fact, based on those conversations, I'm like, I'm gonna have to end up doing so much more work than what I'm quoting.
Yeah,
because I know when I get to these locations to shoot, it's gonna be unorganized.
Yeah.
So at those locations, they're gonna take longer than where they're supposed to, because I'm gonna have to organize everything. People like, based on the people that are there, people showed up late and stuff. I'm like, so I know when you get there, people are gonna be late. Like I can just tell a vibe of people. I'm like, once you start shooting, I know we're gonna get to a location.
Yeah,
people are gonna be late, so I'm gonna be waiting. When we get there, people are gonna be like, all right, people's not gonna know their lines. I'm just like, I'm gonna hate this. Like I'm gonna hate this whole project.
When those things happen, those scenarios happen, sometimes I wish in the past, like, not that I even do it now, but it'd be sick to have something in your contract, which is like an
organization fee.
Either that or worst case, like a walkout clause.
So I can quit.
Like if this shit's too unorganized, I'm gone. Sorry guys.
Still paying for my time when I'm out here. Still paying for my
time, but it's over. It's over. I'm sorry.
I think that needs to be implemented somehow.
It might need to be in there.
But yeah, I turned down $7,000, and honestly, I don't regret it at all, because I know my brain would not be there. Like sometimes, especially now, like, and I think that kind of makes an ode to like where we're at in our careers, where it's like, there definitely was a time where I'd be like, I'm gonna fucking hate this, but let me take it anyways, you know? Yeah. Like, and we do those things. We've taken jobs that are like, I don't really want this, but the money might be good, and I need the money, blah blah.
Yeah.
Yes, I would love to have another $7,000 in that bank account, but I don't want to do that job. Yeah, and my peace of mind has been so much more important to me.
Yeah, we've talked about this on previous episodes.
Than money. It just,
sometimes the money will never be worth it.
It's just
Ashley Morgan, she says, settling for less than I've decided that I deserve and need in romantic relationships and in work. Relates to yours and I's for next year. Ambitious cadet Ervil, she said, unnecessarily slow / stopping my progress for others. A lot of people do this. I was watching a video earlier where this guy was talking about, I think he was a rapper or something like that, and his whole argument was that it's like women will respect you less when you sacrifice your discipline for them. And the way he broke it down was this, right? Like he was essentially arguing that, you know, men, she's like, women respect men who are disciplined in whatever it is that they're doing, right? And there's always this tug of war of
getting your attention.
Let me get some of your attention. And every now and then, yeah, you're going to do it. But it's like, if I end up sacrificing my discipline to constantly give you my attention, now my discipline suffers. Therefore, you're going to respect me less when I'm not doing what I was doing that led you to get me.
I get it.
And I was like, this makes a lot of sense, right? So when, was it Ashley? When Ashley was saying selling for less, even though, oh no, not her, sorry. Ambitious cadet, stop slowing and stopping my progress for others. A lot of people do that when they get in relationships or fall in love, when they get into some convenient relationship. You know what I mean? I think people do it all the time. Like
of course,
you know, like you and I have talked about being freelancers, doing what we do, and like living with a partner or just working. Which is always that thing in the back of our head where it's like, fuck, like I do all my work from home. And when my partner comes home, like it's just their home.
But it's my office.
It's my office as well.
But they don't see it as that, they see it as home.
There's that, or even your mind, just the way we're wired, we'll start thinking, fuck, I have to go spend time with her. Because if I don't, like, it's taking away from her experience at home.
Yep.
Even though, like, you know that sometimes they don't see it that way,
but you have to adjust it.
You just get in your head too much about it.
Yep.
It's crazy. It's crazy, man.
It's real life.
What else? Allison, she says falling for fuckboys. You need to stop that. Allison, you need to stop that. You need to stop that. Dude, I don't know how that's still happening. Trina, she said people pleasing, staying in, holding on to toxic relationships, family or friends, not saying no. That's a big one. Like, being able to say no to your family is like a giant step in your adult life.
100%. And it feels so good the first time. Then
like,
it just becomes easier after that.
I have the power to do it. You just need to do it once.
Mom, no.
Yeah.
What? I said no.
Can't do it.
They'll get mad though. They'll just get used to that.
They always get mad. They'll get used to it. Simply Gigi, she said, letting my own anxiety and fear get in the way of me being proactive / going for and trying things I'm genuinely passionate about. It's a big one. Brandon, he says, questioning if I'm making the right decision. I think for this one, you'll never know if
there is no right decision.
You'll never know. You
just don't question the decision you're going to make.
Yeah,
that's all.
It.
They're never right.
Yeah,
none of my decisions are right. I just do them. You make it right.
You only have the benefit of saying something is right in hindsight,
of course.
So you're
like, oh shit, that worked out.
Yeah,
or fuck.
Better luck next time.
Should have done this one.
Next one. Shanae, he said, procrastinating on things that will change my life. If you know something is going to change your life, if you know it will,
get it done. Come on.
Right? There are plenty of things I'm doing now that's changed my life that I didn't know. Like, I didn't know freelancing was going to change my life.
But if you know, like, this project is a big project that I've been waiting for.
Yeah.
Don't procrastinate on that.
Don't procrastinate.
You've been waiting for that moment.
Yeah.
Like,
Ashima. Oh, she's tuning in the podcast. I didn't know that. She says, entertaining negotiation on my non-negotiables. I like the way she put that. Because it's similar to what we're saying.
Why am I negotiating this with you?
Why am I negotiating on my non-negotiables?
Something I have identified as a non-negotiable. Yet I'm here discussing ways to get through it with you. Why am I even having this conversation? Because I like you.
And
because I like you.
You know how crazy it is?
What?
You know how...
I still don't want this.
You actually feel... just saying that out loud, saying that statement out loud makes me feel like an idiot.
100%. Yeah, you've been in those situations where you're like,
yeah,
I know I don't want this, yet I'm having this conversation with you.
I'm having it with you.
To find a way of getting around it.
Like, what?
But if you can get around it, how would you? But I don't want to get around it. But if you could.
I don't want to.
But we're still having this conversation, which means you're open to it. So is it really a non-negotiable? For me?
Holy smokes.
Can you negotiate it for me? Please?
Like, get the fuck out of here. Seriously.
And that's how you end up in conversations for 7 hours at nighttime.
Bro, there's nothing worse. And this isn't even me talking shit, because I know my partners in the past have felt the same way. There's nothing worse than what you think. There's never a time limit in your head of when you think this conversation, how long it's going to take.
Nope.
But you never think it's going to take hours.
Nope.
You never think it will.
How have we been talking about this for 7 hours?
7 hours?
7 hour arguments I've had before.
That's insane.
We're just, and
that's a work shift.
It's always at night.
Right. That's a retail work shift.
It's always at night. It's never like the day. It's literally like we start fighting at like 11 p.m., 10 p.m. and it's like 5 a.m. the next day, and we're like, can we just call it quits? Like, can we just call it quits?
Can we just stop this?
I'm tired.
Let's just take a break.
I've had a point where I was so tired I started falling asleep in the argument, and then she got mad at the fact that I was falling asleep. What do you want me to do? I've been at this for hours with you. My body is shutting down.
No, you fucking didn't. My body.
She's like, oh, you're falling asleep now. Like, whatever. I'm like, oh my god, it's 5 a.m.
No, you fucking.
What do you want me to do?
Are you serious,
bro? My body just started bucking like mid combo, and then she's like, and you're falling asleep. You don't even care. I'm like, oh, it's not that I don't care. I'm tired. My body, I'm trying to talk to you. My body's saying, shut it down. And now you're mad at me because I'm tired. Now we're in a new argument because now you think I don't care enough to stay awake. What?
No, my sugar levels are low.
Oh my God.
I need to sleep.
I have no iron.
I'm iron deficient. Okay, last one.
Oh man.
Ruth said, not compromising who I am for other people.
Yeah.
That kind of sums up what we were talking earlier about 2020.
100%.
Should be this year. You should have at least figured out, like, maybe not figured out, but start to analyze who you are.
There definitely need to be inward thinking this year.
A lot of inward thinking, and in that process, when you do inward thinking, you're gonna start thinking outwardly and realizing, oh, true, like this isn't what I like.
And listen, worst case, if you haven't done any inward thinking this year, this podcast is going to go up on December 30th, 2020.
Yeah.
And you will have one more day.
One day
to take some inward thinking before you roll into 2021.
Yo.
So if this is the first time you're hearing to think inward, whenever you hear this, spend tonight and the day after tomorrow, which is the 31st, spend all day just thinking about yourself and what you're looking for before you go into January 1st.
For real. I was one of my boys, well, two of my friends were here last night helping me move and shit, and my boy Earth was talking about the whole non-negotiable thing, right? But he was talking about specifically in terms of compromising yourself. And I like the way he put it. He was basically saying that, he's like, everything in this world, like literally everything is built to take your energy. Everything. So when I keep people around me in my life, I keep them around because they should not be taken away from my energy. That's the only reason they're there.
Everything is built otherwise.
Everything is built otherwise. When you watch TV, you watch social media, like everything's taking your energy. So his whole philosophy is that he's like, I tell people things 3 times. It's like, if I tell you something 3 times and it bothers me, after that, I'm immediately done with you. It does not matter who you are.
Now you're consuming.
Yeah. He's like, because if I tell you once, that's your first time. Second time, maybe it's taking a little bit longer to like get into it. The third time, like now this is the final straw. Anything after that means that you're aware that what you're doing is taking from my energy and
you don't care.
And you don't care. And when you just put it that simply,
right,
it makes the perfect sense.
This isn't the first or second conversation. This is the third conversation.
It's the third conversation. 3 times. That's it. That's all you get.
I mean, 3 seems to be the number for anything in life. 3 strike rules. 3 strike rules. 3 strike
everywhere, bro.
In court.
Dog, even fucking
3rd time's a charm. Like
even in the film industry, I see. They don't even tell if someone tells you that you fucked up,
that's your 3rd time.
No, that's your 2nd time.
Oh, okay.
They don't tell you the 1st time. They tell you on the 2nd time. So that way you're on notice. You're like,
if I'm talking to you, we've already addressed this before without you, and now it's coming to you. So if it happens again, you're done. Do you get told the 3rd time, or you're just done?
No, you get told the 3rd time, and then you're out.
You get told the 3rd time and you're done, or you get told the 3rd time to make a change? 3rd
time done, right away.
So if
I'm notifying you and you're done.
I'm letting you know this is the 3rd time.
I'm notifying you and you're done. Yes, and you're also done. It's gonna be hard for you to work now. That's what it is basically. Wow. So 3rd time's a charm for everything. Power
of 3. Happy New Year, brother.
Happy New Year, man. It's crazy.
Happy New Year, WNTT family. This was great. I was actually watching our first video together a few days ago when I first brought you on MR.KOA Talk for long distance relationships.
Wow.
I was watching that on my channel.
Was so long.
Yeah, I was showing somebody like, how'd you guys start? And I was showing them that I went to that video. It's all private on my page now, but that was our first time doing anything together.
That's so
just to long. I'm like, I just wanted to see how we were together, like on camera. And I'm like, you never been on camera with me before. We just kind of went off of it. You're talking about long distance being in Hamilton. I was just like, we started, and that's how our banter just kind of started. I'm just like, Hamilton, like, and we just kind of authentically just had a moment where like, this works. We're gonna have a new podcast. Even in the episode, I'm like, we're about to start a podcast next week for the first episode.
Yeah,
and that was January. That was January 2016, bro.
2016?
2017, sorry.
17? Holy fuck.
2017, January.
That's so long ago.
So we're moving into next year. Will be 4 years since we started this shit.
That's crazy.
And it's been a pleasure, bro. This has been quite the ride. We've learned a lot. Even from like, I even watched the first episode we did. It was like a 10-minute episode.
Yeah, I remember
we didn't
that.
really know what to really talk about.
Dude, like,
And it's just interesting.
This has probably been the most. It's probably been like the most consistent thing I've done.
100%.
I've never done a project for 4 years.
4 years on it.
Yeah.
Like,
that's crazy.
It's cool. And it really just shows us like time passes. And now when you're still doing it, like, you can really look back and be like, I mean, that's for 4 years. Like, 4 years went by. Seriously?
You've been doing a podcast nearly every week for like high school.
For like a high school term.
Yeah. That's fucked.
A high school series.
That's fucked.
We've aged. I grew a beard. You grew a little bit of stubble and got your dreads longer. Like, you had like twists and stuff when you first started. And like,
true.
It's cool. It's cool to look back at those. But
that's hilarious.
Yeah, happy New Year, guys. This has been special. I don't know what 2021 has in store for us, but rest assured, we won't be nice guys anymore. Until next year, guys. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see y'all in 2021.
Peace.
Wash your hands.
We need to talk.
We need to talk.
We need to talk.
We need to talk.
We need to talk.